Hey, welcome to The Issues. I'm Jomo. These are the reviews for June 22nd, 2011. Today we're going to be having a look at The Death of Spider-Man in Ultimate Spider-Man 160. Avatar: The Last Airbender, Lost Adventures, published by Dark Horse Comics. And last but certainly not least, we are going to be looking at Lose by Michael DeForge. First up, we're going to talk about this Ultimate Spider-Man 160 Death of Spider-Man issue. If you'll notice, this isn't the actual comic itself. It's in one of those, like, weird sort of plastic preservative packages. Like, sort of like if you've ever read The Death of Superman. But don't let that scare you away, because although it is a death issue, it's in one of these really corny plastic bag thingies. The comic itself, very good. For those of you who aren't reading Ultimate Spider-Man, it follows Peter Parker at the age of about 15, 16. He's learning to deal with all his superpowers and all his regular everyday responsibilities. It started about early 2000s and had a great following since. Mark Bagley's pencils are better than ever. Brian Michael Bendis really knows how to capture the entire impact of what's going on in this story. He's been working on this comic for all the way since issue 1. The only real grievance with this comic is the ending itself sort of falls flat. The only reason I think they're ending it in such an abrupt way is because they're coming out with something called Ultimate Fallout in July, and it's going to be following into a new line of Ultimate comic books coming out in the fall. Next we're going to have a look at it at Lose by Michael DeForge. Now, first of all, this cover is just off the wall. I love it. Michael DeForge has a very surreal approach to drawing comic books. His surreal approach, I think, makes it a whole lot of fun to read, and just something really different. This story follows a struggling artist named Michael, who finds himself in sort of a creative block and ends up in basically what is known as comic book hell. He runs into a colorful cast of characters, many of which you may recognize from other popular comic strips. There's a lot of really quirky humor. It's not exactly something I would recommend for all ages, but if you're a mature reader looking for something a little bit surreal, this is right up your alley. I didn't know what to expect, and I enjoyed every twist and turn the story had. Next up, Nickelodeon's Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Lost Adventures. This is actually a collection of stories published by Dark Horse for Nickelodeon, and it's collected in this sort of graphic novel form. Now, if you're not too familiar with the Avatar series, basically it follows a story of a young airbender named Aang, who is on his way to becoming what is known as the Avatar, a master of all the nature elements. Trust me, I know there's a lot more to the story. The stories themselves in here, they're sort of in-between stories or side stories that sort of happen throughout the actual Avatar Airbender series. The artwork itself remains pretty faithful to the cartoon show it originated from. And a notable artist that's actually featured in this comic book is Giri, which, if you're not too familiar with, is responsible for the Power Pack series, most recently published by Marvel. Like I said, artwork's fantastic, pretty fun read, even if you're not too into the Avatar series, but you'll probably get more out of it if you are familiar with it. But still, great stuff for all ages. Well, I'm Jomo Moncrieffe, and this is The Issue. I hope you enjoy, and please tune in next week.